Thank
without
you.
any further ado, I just want to hand this over to someone. I hand it over to somebody that is doing what we should all be doing, which is, of course, focusing on the annuities as we focus on everything else. And so, all I asked him to do, because Vic came to us with zero license, zero experience, and is now killing it. In just the last 2 months, literally just in the last 2 months, he's almost at $1 million in production in annuities, and he's still learning the game. So I can only imagine what he's going to do when he's really up and running, going full throttle, because there's more business to be had than you could ever imagine. I'm telling you right now, I was speaking with Monica just last night. She was telling me about this one case, and she was asking me, I just want to make sure I did the math right. And I'm like, well, what's the problem? It's the commission. I'm like, well, what is it? It's really simple. Let's look at the target premium. We got the target premium. We looked at the at the payout. Okay, it was 7%. Okay, well, they multiply it times per contract. And she's like, I know, but it's showing me almost $10,000. I'm like, well, that's it. That's a good thing, Monica. You want to get paid as much as you possibly can, and so it's pretty cool to be happily surprised if you, man, am I really going to get paid that much? And the answer is you are. Yes, you are, because you're bringing that much of value to somebody. You're giving them lifetime income of that they didn't have before. You're giving them all kinds of benefits, higher caps, blah 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 blah. So be very proud that you are going to get paid. And what I told her is we got to be very careful not to sabotage ourselves, because sometimes people haven't been paid what they're worth, and when they do get paid, they revert to what they used to get, which was not as much, and you don't want to do that. So without any further ado, I want to bring this gentleman on board, Mr. Vic Mackliff. This is being recorded. I got a lot of requests from people for the replay, which I'm going to send to everybody via email. And so without any further ado, what I want to do is bring him on board and let him tell you a little bit about him, his background, and most importantly, how he's getting all this business and his approach to closing business that, again, maybe it will work for you. I'm pretty sure it could. But the beauty about this whole thing is we can all do whatever we want. And so I really hope you learn to copy successful people like Victor. So, Victor, without any further ado, thank you for your time tonight, sir. And it's all yours.
You're welcome. Hey, everybody. How y'all doing?
Good.
Good? A
Yes.
lively crowd. Lively crowd. Love it.
It just takes us a while to hit the unmute button.
Fair enough. Fair enough. All right, guys. Well, Javier, thank you for the introduction, and thank you all for joining. I hope I'm able to share some knowledge with you guys and help you guys increase your business. Where do I start here? So my background is as follows. I was a finance major many moons ago at a Cal Poly, and I thought I was going to be an analyst, right? A financial analyst, which sounded really cool until New York Life told me that I had to sell life insurance. So I was like, wait, what the heck? What does that mean? I'm 23 years old. I don't know anybody who wants life insurance, right? So I quickly exited out of that and went into corporate and went into a mortgage and real estate. And from there, I always treated my clients as a whole, holistically overused word, but I'd look at all the sides of it and go, wait, you need life insurance because you have a kid and you have a house now, or hey, you know what? I'm looking at your assets and you're kind of light on your retirement. Let's talk about it. So I would refer people to a couple of planners I knew for years until such point I had a few clients who said, Vic, we want you to handle our finances, not somebody else. So I was like, okay, all right. So I got, that was a number of months before I met George. And so I joined with Mass Mutual, okay? And I started, because that's who I referred business to, and I started writing business with them. And George came in and kept pestering me. He kept presenting the opportunity to me. And on the third go around, I finally said, let's take a look at this. Because the thing that stopped me was it's too good to be true. Because he'd come in with these leads, right? And he goes, I have all these leads and people, I don't have good people to handle it. And I said, that's bizarre to me. How people spend thousands of dollars trying to get leads, and you're telling me you have all these leads. It sounds crazy. So anyways, I went with them. I did a ride along. I watched the presentation. I watched it all play out. And after the third meeting of shadowing them, I said, that's it. I'm in. This is crazy. And that's the only word I keep using for it is crazy. It's crazy the opportunity, right? Because what I found quickly is qualified leads, right? And so I just want to hit on some of those things, right? It's qualified leads, right? It's not just leads, but it's qualified. It's these teachers, there's no shortage of them. Javier, I think you said there's 924 campuses in LAUSD alone. So it's like they don't stop growing. There's a new one created every day, right? And then they're already pre-designed to think about retirement. They're just like law enforcement. Law enforcement will talk to you about what house they want at the river and when they can retire every time. And teachers are the same way. They just think about retirement. So I thought, wait a minute, they're going to retire with less than 100% of their income and they want to retire. And it's a captive audience. This is cool. So when I approach a teacher, it's literally from that position to start with, is I'm there to help you. I need to, if you're not already cognizant of it, and I need to wake you up that you're going to be short when you retire. And the way I do that is I approach and I go into, I follow the script. On meeting one, it's about a half hour tops. And I go into, I have them log into their HR. So I can see their pay stub. That's a starting point. And because all teachers can get to their pay stubs. So immediately I look at three key parts of their pay stub. I want to look at their salary, their base pay, because a lot of teachers don't even know what they're paid. Second, I look over to the right-hand side and I look and see how much sick time they've accrued, because that's going to play into buying out a year at the end if they can. And then I scroll to the bottom of the pay stub with them on their screen and I illustrate to them. I go, look, see that EE CalSTRS? That's what's going into your CalSTRS pension fund. And then I look right there to see if there's any 403Bs. Okay. A 457 will show up as well. Okay. So 403B, 457, that's going to be there. Bottom left deductions on the pay stub. In the middle is going to be their voluntary deductions. That's going to show their teachers, the union. But you'll also find if they're putting money aside somewhere, it'll show like $300 going to schools first. Or it'll show $500 going somewhere. So I ask them, hey, what's this $300? Oh, it goes to something. And then I start naming it. Is it for your supplemental benefits? Is it for some, if you get disabled? Yeah, that's it. Okay, so now I know they're putting money into what used to be called the Horace Mann. Now it's I forgot who they are now.
NTA.
Yeah, there you go. Right. So now I start figuring out how much money they're putting aside, right? And then I go on aside from your pay stub, when you check your checking account every month, do you have any recurring payments that come out for like life insurance? I just play dumb, right? Like life insurance, right? Oh yeah, I get $150 taken out for something. Do you know what that's for? I think it's for this. So I just start making those notes. Now I have some data and I know if they're putting money away, $500 a month on 403B, I start to salivate a little bit because I'm like, oh man, they're 45 years old. They've been doing this for about 10, 15 years. They got some money sitting there. Okay. So then I take them back. Then I take them to the My CalSTRS. So 3 websites I go to is immediately direct them to their HR, LAUSD, go into their find their pay stub. Then I go to their My CalSTRS, and I go right into their progress report, so that I see how many years of service they have. I go right down into explaining how the money goes from their pay stub into that CalSTRS number, right, into their main fund. And then I scroll down and I find their supplemental. And then if they're old enough, the supplemental will show me how much money they're expected to get at 55 and 60. You all have seen that, I think, right? So then I take that number and I explain to them, right? And of course I go through the script and explain to them that if they draw their pension, that their beneficiaries only get $7,000. But prior to retiring, they receive all the money that's sitting there plus $28,000. And I then explain to them, I go, look, this supplemental account is going to help you if they participate, right? Hey, if you're going to have $100,000 in there, I'm going to go ahead and create an illustration, show you how you can move that to an IRA, individual retirement account, and how that's going to help supplement this whole puzzle, right? Because we have a puzzle that we're creating here. We have your CalSTRS. Now we have this supplemental that we can use as an IRA, and then you have a 403B, right? Because I see it here. And so we're going to put this all together, and our goal is to get to 100% of your income. So then I back out of the progress report. I go to their beneficiaries. I spend 2 minutes there to show them if they don't have somebody, how to put it in. If they do have somebody, make sure it's right. And then I go back and then I finish with their retirement calculator. And I go right in there and I have them. So this is one thing I've been doing is I have them print to PDF and email me their printout. Okay. Because I used to do it on the paper, right? And do the whole thing. I have them do it there. But what I was screwing up was I'd leave the meeting and I didn't have my notes. I'm like, crap, how much did they have at 50 or 65 or 62? So I just have them save it and email it right then and there at the end of our meeting. Okay. So then, and of course I make notes on what the dollar amounts are going to be at 60. So I always start with 60 and then I'll run illustrations and I always have them pick the SAP, right? Leaving the monies to their beneficiary. And that's how I come up with that piece of the pie, right? So now you guys are all asking, well, I thought you were going to do this whole training on annuities. Well, you haven't even talked about annuities yet. Here's the thing, guys. You're never going to get to the annuity unless you build that trust and report them. See, by illustrating the fact that they have an option to do something with their supplemental, and that can help their retirement, you're building credibility because other people are not coming in there and explaining that to them. You understand? By going to their pay stub and showing them how their banking hours and what their strategy is, and the LAUSD will allow you to buy out time, and that their contract's in 185 days, and that there's 7 hours on the job, so we can do the math and figure out how much time, right? You're built like they're looking at you like, okay, this guy, this person, this individual knows what they're talking about. So now I'm building, right? And now I finished with, if I have enough time, I have it kind of figured out what my pace needs to be, right? Is now I get over to the TSACG account, tsacg.com. Now let me pause right there, hard pause, let me retreat a little bit. If on their pay stub, it shows that they have a 403B, I go to TSA site first because I don't want to run out of time. Okay, so if I see that they have a deduction, then I go right to TSA first. Okay, but I don't make a big deal about it yet, meaning I want to see what they have, but we're too early in the meeting for me to start asking them to print out stuff and give me stuff because they don't know what the hell they're looking at yet. But now I know, holy smokes, they have one at $48,000, they have another one for $9,800, and they have another one for $62,000. Cool. Right? And so I go, do you mind if I just make some notes so that I can have this information as we continue? Okay, cool. Then I run to the my CalSTRS and I follow that process, okay? Because I need to get to that how much their shortage is going to be. So now I go, okay, you're going to be short $3,200. I just did a Zoom before this meeting. She's going to be short $3,200, right? And so now I go, okay, now what my job is to do is to take this information and figure out a plan for you to shore up this difference. The good thing, right? The good thing, Javier, is you've done some great things already. You started a 403B. You have $109,000 to work with. Again, I meet with teachers all the time. And I sometimes meet with teachers who are 49 years old, 51 years old. They don't have a penny. And it's a tough conversation. But you've had $109,000. My job here is to analyze this for you and see if we can upgrade it. Just like anything, we want to have the best performance across the board. So what I'd like to do is schedule a time, and I do it right then and there. And we're going to go through and understand how these funds work. And I need you to hear me on 3 key points. And so if you'd like, go ahead and take a note. So I'm directing them. I said participation rate, very big. The next thing is cap rates, CAP, cap rates. Yeah, CAP, that's right. And I can repeat it, like make sure you write it down. And then we want to know about riders, guaranteed life income riders. What's that? I'm going to cover that. So this is how I explain it. You ever been to Vegas and they say you have this much working? If you've ever played craps, they go, hey, right, Stickman, how much do I have working? You got the 68 and the all right, great. So you know what's working, right? In this sense, let's just make easy math. Let's say you have $100,000, right? And let's say the fund grew 10% that year. 100,000 times 10%. You would think that you would have 110,000 at the end of the year, correct? And so on and so on. That's how our money grows. Well, watch this. There's some sneaky stuff out there. You see, if your participation rate is less than 100, so let's say 50%, then only $50,000 is working. So even if there's a 10% return, instead of having 110,000 at the end of the year, you're only going to have 105,000. Does that make sense? Yeah, I need to look for acknowledgement. Now watch this. There's one other twist. Caps. Let's say the fund did 10% return like we spoke about. But now your cap is 5%. Watch this. Now you only get 5% return on $50,000. So instead of ending the year at 110, you're going to end the year with 102,500 because they're only going to cap you at 5% maximum return. This is so important that I educate you and so you understand this. And this is what we need to discover when we audit your existing 403Bs. And then lastly, not all 403Bs are built alike. Some have riders, guaranteed life income riders, which states basically you're going to click the button. When I'm done contributing, I want to click the button and I want to know how much is going to be guaranteed to me until I pass away. Because what we're taught in the financial, advising world is that you can take 4% a year out of whatever pot you've put together. Okay. So if I have $100,000, the most I can take out is $4,000 a year. So what we want to make sure is that this guaranteed life, because 4% will last you at least 30 years, right? So the theory is you're going to retire around 60, and most people don't live past 90. So, but you want to make sure you don't run out of money, right? Let's say you're in good health and you're 79 years old and you wake up and your money's all gone. That's not a good place to be, I would think, right? So we want to make sure your money lasts. So we want to figure out if your funds have a guaranteed life income rider, okay? So that's where these components come together. So I'm going to have you on the phone. It's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes, depending on hold time. And when we conclude that call, you and I are going to have a great conversation to see how it's structured. Okay. And there's one more note. See, when we're doing this, we got to look at it two ways: offense and defense. So your offense is how much you're saving and building, right? And then your defense is your life insurances, your living benefits, right? How does that play? What if I have a stroke? What happens? Do I have monies to be able to cover my care? What if I pass away? Do I have monies to care for my family? So that's the defense side of the fence, right? So when I come together, we're going to look at both the offense and the defense to make sure we have the right plan. Okay. So then I leave it, and then I make one other statement. Because depending on age, so if I was Javier, I go, Javier, you keep yourself together pretty well, but I'm going to guess you're probably closer to 50, right? So as we get closer to retirement, we call it a time horizon. As we get close, you're accumulating, you're building. As you get close to the finish line, now you want to go play defense. You want to grab that, you want to make sure it doesn't go away. And that's where we want to look at, if you're a young buck, if you're you're 26 years old, I would look at, a more aggressive fund for you. So some people are in neutrals, right? Which means it can go up, it can go down, you can lose it all, you can gain a bunch. But as you get closer to retirement, we want to make sure we have instruments that mitigate any loss. And I'll go through that in our next meeting when we start getting all this data. So our next step is going to be, let's schedule the call now. Can you do it during lunch? Right? Because it's usually the best time. If it's elementary, it's always lunch. Or after school kind of sucks, because if you call at 3 o'clock or later, a lot of the Central and East Coast, they're already closed. So, best bet is to get them at 12:15 or 12:30, depending on their lunch period or their free period if they're high school or junior high. Okay. So then on the call, I follow. Sorry, let me pause here. Any questions on meeting 1 in what I've covered so far?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Okay. So the one question I have, what did you say about the 7% when you said for the bit? I have two questions. The beneficiary, like slow down on that one. So only how many percentage goes when you go and look at the report, and for how many years?
Yes, certainly. So in the Javier, what's the name of the
Progress
website?
report.
Yes, in the progress report, but on Javier's site where it has all the videos, there is I believe a YouTube that breaks down the progress report.
Specialized markets.
There you go. Sorry, thank you. I have a bookmark. Specialized markets you'll find there on appointment 1 in the videos. Great, because it'll break it down. But to answer your question specifically, on the progress report, it states, I believe the number is 7,082, that if they pass away once they draw their pension, their beneficiary will only receive $7,082.
Okay, no matter what that cost is, and then it stays with LAUSD, and that beneficiary can be anybody other than a spouse.
It could be anybody, including
Anybody, but the pension can only be left to a spouse. Okay, and then the second question was the participation rate. So when it's 170%, you were saying that of the actual accumulated value, I thought it was always 170 or 205 of the return. So break that down again.
Sure. So participation rate is your multiplier. So if your participation rate is less than 100, so whatever your dollar amount is, you're only participating at that percentage of it.
Yeah, I understood that part, but I'm saying like in the indexes with National Life Group, there's a index that you could do 170% participation rate and 205. So if you only have 100,000, then how does that then become 200,000? I thought the 205 was the return.
No, so what that means is basically for every dollar, you're really looking at $2.10 working for you. So watch this. Let's make it a little easier. Let's say the participation rate is 200%. Okay.
Yeah.
And let's say you have 100 grand. So let's say you have 10% return and your participation rate is 100,000, 100%. At the end of the year, you'd have 110,000, right?
But okay, I thought we were at 200%.
Well, hold on. I want to start there.
Okay.
100,000, 100% participation, 10% return, you get 110 grand.
Right.
100,000, your participation rate is 200%, and you have a 10% return. So now you would have 200,000 times 10%, that's 20 grand. So you would end the year at 120 grand versus 100.
Okay. Yeah. So is the return that's what I thought, right? I just was saying I was calculating it right?
Yep.
So that 10, yeah. Okay.
The only thing I'm would redirect you on the term. It's not the return, because the return is what the fund, what the return is for the fund. This is really the multiplier, because if the fund only had a 5% return, right, then you would have 200,000 times 5% would be 10 grand.
So you have like a 13% cap, and then it says like 170% participation rate, or 200% participation rate. That's more than the 100% of your example, right? So that's better. That's all I want to know, right?
Absolutely. So in that case, right? So in that case, let's say you have 100,000 and your participation rate is, like you said, 175%. Okay.
170 or either 205 is what the indexes show.
Right. So in that case, if at the 13% return, you would have made 22,750 on that one. But and we can have a little one off on that, but yes, you're the way you're seeing it is correct.
Okay, thanks.
You bet. All right. So now stepping into the phone call, right? So now we call. Now, when you go to the TSACG and you're there and you're on their dashboard, right? You can click each one of the funds and it's going to open up. It'll show you the dollar amount. It'll show if they have any loans. And then on the right-hand side, it's going to tell you, or excuse me, in the middle, it'll always have the account number. So you're going to want to write that down, right? So let's say it's plan member services and it's 403B and it's account, 109562. Great, write that down. Over to the right-hand side, it'll tell you plan member services, it'll show the website, and it's like in tiny print, okay, or tiny font, and it'll have the phone number. When I was first figuring this out, I spent countless inefficient hours trying to figure out freaking phone numbers, right? But it's right there. So you don't get the phone number there, and it'll make your job way easier, okay? So you just get the phone number there, jot it down, and now when you're ready for your call, because now you have the dollar amount that it says on the on the dashboard, you have the phone number, you have the name of the company, and you have the account number, which is what you need, okay? So then when you call, this is how it sounds, right? It's like, how Rochelle comes on the line and say, hi, my name is Victor Mackliff. I'm an advisor, and I'm here with our client, Rochelle Townsend, and we'd like some information about her account. And I just stopped talking. Sorry. Before I even dial, I let the client know. So it's going to need about 10 minutes, depending on how much hold time. So what's going to happen is we need to be absolutely quiet at first, because if we even breathe, it'll probably take us in a different direction, okay? So I'll type it. If it asks for the account number, I'll type that in. And it may ask for your social, your last four, your complete. So then that would be your turn to type that in. And once it gets us to a live person, then we can start chatting. But it's going to take a few minutes. And if it asks for a PIN, we're going to skip that. We'll just hit 0 until we get to somebody, because they never know their PIN. Okay. So I set the stage on how it's going to work. And then we call. Sure enough, it's going to ask for the account number. I plug that in. Then the last word is social, and they plug that in. And then sometimes they'll say the birthday, and they'll plug that in. And then we'll finally get to, moving through the system. So then I do my spiel, I introduce myself, I introduce the client, and I say, we just have some general information. We'd like to gather some information. And I start with, what's the current value of the fund? I don't use accumulation value and all those fancy terms. I just say, what's the current balance? And they go, oh, as a close of market yesterday, it's $147,280.51. Great. Now, I don't go right into surrender, even though it's on the form to the right. I don't go there, because what if their surrender is $10,000 less? Or the minute I start talking about surrender, what if the client says, like, wait a minute, I didn't say I wanted to move my money. Why are we talking about surrender? Got it? I don't want to go there yet. So then I go into, oh, okay, great. And what type of product is this? Is this a 403B? Even though I know it is. Yep, it's a 403B. Okay, or it's a Roth, or it's whatever. Okay, great. And when was this established? Oh, the account was opened January 2nd, 2009. Well, I always want to know when it started, because why? That's going to give me a feel for if there's going to be a surrender fee, right? Because I'm always praying that it's at least 10 years, because I'm like, oh, they're probably out of surrender, Then I ask, are there any, if in the form just below that, it says, is there any loans or withdrawals, right? And I ask that. They go, oh yeah, there's a loan for $11,000. I go, oh, so the 147, is that already accounted for the 11? So like, or does she really have 158,000? No, it's 147 because we've already deducted the 11 grand. Okay, cool. Then I say, are there any contributions to the account currently on a monthly basis? Oh yeah, $300 a month. Okay, cool. All right, and then I go into, what is the current surrender value? Because I want to give it some time. And I go, at this point, we're just gathering information. We're not looking at transferring money. We just want, we just want information. Because I don't want to be so assumptive with the client on the line. And they go, oh, it's $148,150. Oh, so there's no fees for transferring money. There's an admin fee of $95. Okay, great. And is it possible? Does your system allow me to tell me how much the total contributions have been? And that's hit or miss, guys. A lot of people, I've been stuck on hold for 11 minutes having somebody trying to tell me how much money they put in. It's like, I've lost all momentum. So I just ask them right then and there, is that something you can quickly access or not? Oh, yeah. If it is, they'll give it to you quick. If not, don't go down that rabbit hole, because you'll get stuck on hold forever. And then your teacher starts freaking out and you can't finish your call. Okay. So then I go, now I know how much they have, when it started, if there's a surrender fee, what the transfer is. And then I go, are are there any, and if there's any loans, and I go, are there any riders on this account? And I just pause. No, there's not. Okay, so no riders, there's no guaranteed life income rider or anything of that nature. And half the time, the poor person for the Philippines is like, what are you even talking about? But I make a spectacle of it, right? It's like, oh, so you don't have that. Okay. And then I ask, what is this in? Is this in mutuals or is this in fixed index? Oh, it's in mutuals. Oh, so it's in the market so that it can go up or down. And they usually don't even respond, right? Or they'll tell you it's in a fixed index. And like I had one yesterday. It was too easy, guys. $116,000, too easy. Because then I go, fixed index, cool. I look down on my little paperwork that whoever created, Javier or George, and it tells me what to ask. Oh, what's the participation rate? Oh, it's 50% or 100%. Cool. And then what are the caps? Well, what ready for this? This lady had it broken up into 3 different funds. 4%, 3%, and 3%. Come on. Are you serious? The max returns you can make is 4%. And I ask them, is that monthly or annual? Oh, no, it's annual. And you can hear my voice, my tone already going up just in this training. That's where I go because it's like, you're just beating up this person. It's not even fair, you know? Because the market's been participating at like probably 16% return on average, and you're only getting 4% measly. So then I go, okay, cool. Now, if I do it in person, because I have been doing guys, I'm sorry, I'll be straight with you. If there's 100 grand or greater, I'm going to go to a classroom and do this call. If it's like 40 grand or 35 grand, I'm okay with doing it over the phone. But I'm on campus enough that I will fill in appointments to do these calls, especially if it's a sizable amount, okay? And if I'm in front of them, I'll be doing the whole head nod like, oh gosh, like, oh, this is terrible. And they'll know it. And then that's it. I just close out. Remember, in the first meeting, I had already made sure that they kind of wrote down what a cap rate was and what participation rate was and so forth, right? And then I just go, okay, great. If it's on the phone, thank you. Hang up and I do it again. If they have another fund and I do it again. And then I go, okay, Rochelle, I got everything I needed here. Now I can conduct my part of this and figure out how to maximize your return and maximize your funds to get you the best, possibility of making up that $3,022 that we have to make up. So are you available? And I book it right there. Are you 2:30 again on Thursday? Okay, cool. And then I come back with the illustrations and I show them that I'm not capped, or I show them that I have a 10% cap. I show them the guaranteed life income on the illustration. It's over. Really, it's over. And I average at least 3 appointments on these transfers. Okay. One of the things Javier wanted me to highlight was coming from mortgage, you spend, Rhett can attest to this. On a mortgage deal, your average commission is going to be anywhere from, if you're doing a real, really a loss leader, you'll probably make 5-6 grand, but you'll probably make somewhere around 8-10 grand. And if you get some really nice ones, it'll be 12 to 15. But let's just say the average is about 8 grand. You'd spend at least 10 to 12 hours on that deal. At least. Because I got to talk to a client, I got to talk to an agent, I got to talk to another agent, I got to talk to an appraiser, I got to talk to all these people. I'm maybe 3 hours. I'm not even 3 hours with the client, guys, with 3 meetings. I'm an hour and a half, maybe, if that much. And $100,000 annuity transfer is 7 grand. And whatever your commission rate is, I'm at whatever 68 or whatever, or 72, whatever, right? So 7 times, that's 5,600 bucks, 49, 5 grand. I mean, it's good money, right? And then the IULs, you guys know that pays somewhere about, I don't know, 3 to 4 grand, So to me, it's a volume game, right? And it pays so well. And there's no I don't have to talk to multiple people. It's so seamless. It's streamlined. So I get pretty excited about this stuff because I see it as like, holy crap, there's 900 and something schools, 30 teachers per school. I mean, geez, I'm more stressed about, do I have enough time on this earth to collect as much money as possible from all these teachers, you know, and help them. So with the annuities, right, bringing us home, when I present to them, it's really that easy. It's like, look, you're at a 4% cap or whatever. And one of the other things, sorry, I'm thinking, one of the other questions, right, when they say they have an annuity, when I discover that, right then and there, I go, oh, you know, who helped you out with that? I've had maybe 1 out of 30, 40 teachers say, oh, it was, you know, John Doe. They go, I go, when's the last time you met him? When they sign me up. Okay, so do you guys do a review to see how the funds are? No, never. Okay, my approach is a little bit different. You know, Rochelle, I would like to at least speak to you once a year to do a full review and touch base to 6 months. We would move monies on a yearly basis because 6 months is not enough time to do a look back. But, you know, we want to make sure that we're looking at active and proactive on managing your money because this is important. This is your retirement. So I've already set that trap and that hook up front. So I'm telling this last one I did for 192,000 that's going through process right now. Carlos Santini never saw his advisor ever. And I know I won that deal only because I saw him 3 times, which is 3 times more than he saw the guy who put together 198,000 for him over the last 14 years. You follow me? It was just 2 weeks. So it's really digging on them on, they don't have a relationship, period. They don't even know how their money's working, educate them, and then show them that you have a better way to upgrade their money, and it's done. And so last week, you know, I'm going to give you guys some real numbers. And then once I figure out how to process this stuff faster, believe me, but in the month of September, $523,070 in transfers. In the month of August, $445,686. And school season started in August. My first appointment was August 8th, I believe. Okay. So, and then for October, I already have 332,778 lined up. So it's out there. And I just think at $100,000 increments. You know, if it's a $15,000 transfer, that you know what, they all add up. And every 100 grand, I just kind of give myself a sigh of relief and know, hey, I just got 400,000 more to go. You know, because my goal is to get to 500,000 transfers on a monthly basis. It's really easy for me. I'm a numbers person. I want to work 10 months because that's what teachers work pretty much. If I can make 50, you know, if I can do 500,000 transfers, that's 5 million, right? Times 7%, that's 350,000. I don't care what my commission rate is, I'm making a good living. And then I throw the IULs and term life stuff on top of that. It's a good life. So, lastly, like I said, last week, well, just yesterday I had 6 appointments. I started at 7:30 and I ended at 4:30. And I say that to you because in the world I was from, mortgage, if I could leave work at 4:30 and not have to deal with it for the rest of the day, that would be awesome. But in mortgage, you know, people are flipping out because they don't know, oh, I don't know if I'm going to close. So let me call you at 8 o'clock at night. Nobody's calling me at 8 o'clock at night. Nobody's calling me, period. So I'm okay with, I can get 6 appointments a day, Monday through Thursday, and then cruise on Friday. I'm solid. I'm good. So I say that, right? Because these annuities, I say I might see them up there 3 times. I'm on campus anyways. I'm going to run to them and knock out the phone call, or I'm going to come and do the illustration. So I think that's where I'm going to close, is that yes, annuities are there. And it's presentation, get the application, or excuse me, the appointment card. I'm at 61% from appointment card to first meeting. And I can tell you guys this, you have to text them the minute you leave that presentation. If you don't, so I just did one. I'm finally getting this perfected. 7:30 a.m. and 2:45 p.m. because they're out of their classroom, walking to their car, or cleaning up their classroom between 2:45 and 3, and they're usually getting to campus at about 7:30. So on this last one, we had I split the school with Gabriel Lozano. We had 15 leads. I took 8. I have 7 confirmed appointments. We did the on Tuesday. What day did it say? Thursday? Yeah. So LAUC is always on Tuesday. So between Tuesday and today, we confirmed 7 out of the 8. But that's because right when we left, we hit them with the text. Then we hit them in the morning at 7:30. Then we hit them again at 2:45. And now they're all on calendar. If you don't get after them immediately, and that's something Javier taught me. We went to a presentation and we're at some breakfast place, and Javier's like putting everything in widgets as quick as he could, or wizards now. And I'm like, what's going on here? It's like, you got to stay on it right now, because it was important to them at that presentation. If you wait 4 or 5, last season I did that. Last year, I don't know what the hell I was doing. I'm going on a presentation on Tuesday, start texting them like Thursday or Friday, and I was chasing meetings. Not this year. I get right after it. So now, and then when I go on those first appointments, guys, it's like a grab bag at a party. Like, you can't wait to open it. Like, what's there? Oh shit, there's $196,000 in the 403B. Woo! Or, oh shit, they're 56 and they don't have any money. Okay, gotta go. You know, like it's awesome. So that's it. That's my story. Javier, is there anything else you'd like me to cover?
No, Matthew, you did an excellent job. I just want to thank you, first of all, and congratulate you for your success and